I love building brands. And to be honest, I'm living the dream right now. The chance to build a brand that's exciting and meaningful in a market that matters. In China, to me, it's living the dream. And in fact, we're building our entire company to deliver that dream and to really make the promise of what Mailman Fresh is and what it can be a reality. So basically, in our company, the brand doesn't live in the marketing department. It lives throughout the company. I think the reason I love building brands so much is because it's like a chance to write a novel and then bring it to life and make it a reality with your brand as the main character, with customers, employees, and other people, the environment shaping the rest of the novel. I think it's just an amazing excitement. Let me tell you a little bit about how I got here. As Andrew was saying, before joining this small company, I was working for, I guess, the opposite. Fortune 500 company doesn't sound very entrepreneurial, I guess, but to me it never mattered, because actually at Coca-Cola there was so much space for ideas, and if you know how to sell it, there'll be resources to make your ideas happen. And I have to say, I felt my ideas have wings. So I had a great time, and of course luck is always part of it. So by the time I was 25, I had a chance to move to Atlanta. First worked for Coca-Cola USA, traveled up and down the United States, then worked for 4 years in global marketing, and traveled all over the globe for 4 years. And I do have to say, at that time I was thinking, I can't believe they're paying me for this. It was an awesome time. After that, I spent a couple of years each in Jakarta. I think you were there at the same time. In Jakarta, and then a couple of years in London. And after that, I figured it's time for a break. So I decided to have a sabbatical and spend 1 year taking my skis and follow the snow around the world. I was really excited about it. But then the call came, as Doug was saying, there's always this call that changes everything. In my case, it was, yeah, how about you do the sabbatical later and come to Shanghai? And also, as Doug was saying, Shanghai and Coca-Cola, that sounds awesome. So I actually figured, let's have the sabbatical later, and came to Shanghai. And I have to say, I loved it from the first day. And unfortunately, I only had 1 year here before moving to Taipei and running the Taiwan business. And after that, I figured 18 years are gone. Well, they've passed by, exciting but intense. My time for my sabbatical is now, and that's what I did, spend a year traveling. But since I love Shanghai so much, I based myself back here in Shanghai. Now, while I was doing the Taiwan business, a good friend of mine had started a restaurant at the Shanghai Center at Portland. And that was the first Mailman Fresh. So Scott basically opened this in 2002, and great food, small space, always full. So I guess it was time to expand. And Scott is a smart man and very resourceful. So the way he engaged our discussion was he showed up at my place with a case of champagne to fuel the brainstorming. And that worked just fine. And I will insist, we finished the brainstorming before the case and came out of it by saying, well, actually let's team up, let's be partners and build a national brand together. And we even, despite the champagne, managed to come out of it with a business plan that actually until today is the framework of what we're doing. Now, I have to say my learning number one out of my entrepreneurial experience so far is rule number one, have the right partner. And if one of these days you invite Scott to talk to this group, I think he will come up to this podium and say, hello, I'm Scott and I love creating food. So one of us loves creating food, one loves creating brands. And both trust each other that they're going to do their part. In addition, we've got the great advantage that we've got very, very much shared values about what this company is about in terms of people. So we basically, each of us have our technical specialties, and at the same time work together to create the best company to work for in our industry. That's our commitment. But let's stay with the food for a bit. I think it was Mathieu who had some very, very intelligent quotes from smart people. The best I can do is a hockey player. The famous Wayne Gretzky was asked, well, you're not very, very tall, you're not very fast, how come you're the best hockey player of all times? And he said, well, the good hockey player goes to where the puck is. The great hockey player goes to where the puck is going to be. And what I felt about Mailman Fresh that Scott had started and that we would refine is that it had a real chance to be the place where the puck is going to be. We all know that food in China tends to be with a lot of oil, tends to be heavy, that a lot of the Western establishments were catering to great taste, but not necessarily to health. Now, we decided to define our core. At the time, the restaurant had salads, sandwiches, a salad, a juice bar, and Asian sets. We still have all of these categories. But basically what we decided is there needs to be one thing, two things. There needs to be a core quality that you're known for. You can't be and. So we decided that our heroes would be gourmet salads, fresh juices, and smoothies. And basically that's what we've stuck with. That's what guides our menu direction. That's what guides our communication. That guides everything. And basically it seems to work because basically the share of salad, the share of sales that goes to salads has gone up by about 2.5 times since we made those changes. Continuous innovation. I think the marketplace here in every industry, whichever field you're in, is getting more crowded, it's getting more intense. And what we decided is we need to have continuous innovation. If we just keep cooking what we've been cooking, somebody else will try to take our business away from us. So that's what started our commitment to having twice a year total menu overhaul with seasonal specials. That's a piece of innovation that we insist on. And the more restaurants we open, we're about to open the number 17. The more restaurants we open, the harder that becomes. But it's something we've decided, whatever it takes, we need to put ourselves in a position to be able to do that. And unrelenting focus on quality. Now, what I'm talking about is not just great ingredients and great food preparation, cooking. What I'm also talking about is an insistence on top level, on global level, food safety and hygiene. And when you see all the problems in China over the last few years, that actually turned out to be not just the right thing to do, but also a very good bet in terms of values that actually people appreciate at this point. So, rule number one in marketing, I was always taught, is have a good product. That's rule number one in marketing. And we felt really strong we had that. But then we decided, do people actually know and do people actually care about these attributes that we put all our energy into? So we did something that normally big companies do and that we really couldn't afford, but we just did it anyway and had like a series of consumer focus groups. It was really, really interesting. One of the questions the moderator asked is, what is the lifestyle you aspire to? And these were people in financially good positions, so it wasn't any longer about the basics of life. So everybody said, the number one thing I aspire to is a healthy lifestyle. And you should have seen us, we were like, yes. And then we said, what are the key drivers of a healthy lifestyle? And we also had one Western group, so they were saying smoke less, drink less, and go to the gym. The Chinese groups were saying exclusively, number one driver for a healthy lifestyle, healthy food. We were like, yes, yes. Then we said, half an hour later into the discussion, how do you choose your restaurant? Guess the one thing that nobody talked about. Nobody talked about salad, of course, and nobody talked about healthy food. Basically, people talked about great taste, great ambience, plenty going on, drink a lot, whatever. I'm saying like, wait a second, you told us your number one aspiration is a healthy lifestyle. The number one driver is healthy food. And now you're saying it's all about some other things when you choose restaurants. Yeah, we know it makes sense, but when I hear healthy food, what I think about is bland, boring, quiet, and I'm not going out for that. I think we've got a bit of an issue. We really think we've got a great product, but of course to have a scalable business, it needs to appeal to the Chinese consumer. I mean, believe me, I'm so happy to see each of you at our restaurants, but for scalability, the Chinese consumer needs to embrace the concept and the brand. So we figured, there was a moment of depression of how's this going to take off. And what we ended up with saying is like, actually, no reason to be depressed. It's actually great. The product we have, the things that we do, they actually make sense to people. We just need to explain it totally different. So you will never see an advertising to Mailman Fresh saying, come and do the healthy food. It's not the way to communicate it. Yeah. So, funny enough, Michael Levano, who was talking to us this morning, had brought back the Tennis Masters Cup to Shanghai at that time, and they had come to us to see if we wanted to be a sponsor. Now, of course, that's another thing we couldn't afford, and it's a big company thing, and we said, let's afford it anyway. Let's try it. Because everybody will say Roger Federer and Maria Sharapova and Lina are pretty healthy people, but nobody will say they're bland and boring. They're actually international superstars that are exciting, that are aspirational, and healthy. So we figured this was a very good brand linkage. Now, this was another near-death experience in the end, because what basically happened is we had 60 employees to run our Shanghai Center restaurant, and they needed to continue doing that. It took us 100 people to run the food operations at the Tennis Masters. So everybody was recruited. Family, friends, non-friends, temporaries. So we had to basically build up a big crew of people. What happened then is that, I'm not sure Mike will talk about that, but at that time I think the Shanghai government wasn't so sure yet whether the stadium would be full. So they had bussed in many groups of model workers from the pencil factory number 5. and with them bags of Kentucky Fried Chicken. And we lost our shirt. We really lost our shirt. Now, I think what I think shows the spirit, easy for me, I'm a brand guy, but of the people with me, is that when after this is said, I still think it's a good idea. We lost our shirt, but I still think it's a good idea. Let's sign a long-term contract. Scott and the other key people, everybody looked at me and said, that's a good idea. So, although we lost our shirt, we signed a long-term contract. We've since then done the same with the China Open, which actually turns out to be very important because that includes the women, so Lina plays. We're doing grassroots tennis, youth leagues, and so on. And I hope some of you have noticed, we also have an annual promotion called the Mailman Fresh Tennis World Tour, which gives our customers the chance to fly to Wimbledon, to Melbourne, to New York, and to Paris to see the Grand Slams, or to go to Shanghai, Beijing for the tournaments. And for us, it's just a very natural link that shows actually a healthy, active lifestyle can be aspirational, can be fun. Now beyond that, there's a few things we're trying to really get across. And I think our brand has a unique ability to actually connect things that seem to be opposing each other. Let me just highlight 2 of them. Aspirational and accessible. If you go to, pick one, say go to our Xintiandi restaurant at lunchtime, and you look around, not even just the restaurant, you look at the other people who are there, that's actually the crowd you want to be a part of, and it is quite aspirational. And very important also for the Chinese market, several of our locations are like favorite hangouts for some of the singers and actors, so we get some celebrity action there. Again, for the Chinese market, it's very helpful. But at the same time, we will never want to be exclusive. We don't want to be an exclusive brand. We want to be an inclusive brand. That's what Mailman Fresh is all about. And connecting these two is, I think, something our brand has managed to do. Another thing that I think is important is being fun and being responsible. I'm not sure I should ask it, but is any of you a member in our loyalty program? We still have work to do. It's actually a fantastic program. With a good opportunity to talk about it. Because it's fun and responsible, meaning it's very easy, doesn't cost anything to join. People earn points every time they come, easy enough, not so special. What's special about it is that it's not just about a free cup of coffee or free juice or free dinner. It's about responsibility, it's about community engagement. A lot of people actually donate most of their points in the program we have with Roots and Shoots, where you donate your points and we pay the tuition for a child for a year in your name. And that's one of the most requested rewards, which makes me think we've got pretty cool customers. But this Friends program is really something that ties things together for us. Now, I think everybody that has spoken today at some point gets to the people part, which of course is the most important. And I figured I'll show you the picture of Daisy Jung to explain our approach to it. Daisy Jung is our Training and Development Director, and she's been with us for 10 years. And it's a pretty big job because between our expansion and the replacement of people that move on, we have to hire and train about 1,000 people a year. And Daisy's in charge of it. And we're talking about a girl that at age 20 came from Anhui, and I've been to the village in terms of there is no paved road. She made it to Shanghai. She started in our juice bar, squeezing juice. And if you ever want to meet somebody with determination and with a brain and a heart, that's her. And she's made it through become a waiter, become an assistant manager, to become a general manager, until she was running six restaurants with about 500 people under her by the time she was 27. And she had a child in between. Now, after that she moved to be the training development manager. So basically, it's not just some smart talk, it's a person that's real. Because one of the things that we firmly believe is that the meaning of hope for a lot of people in their work environment is to look at their manager, and that's that person used to be where you are now. There's not just a management speech that says, oh yeah, everybody can advance in our company and it's all great, and there needs to be proof. And we're fortunate, we've got a lot of people that have a similar path, a similar story to Daisy's. And it's actually from Scott's early days on, and we've really made that one of the central pieces, so that we at this point, out of 1,500 people, more than 500 have more than 3 years with our company. And that in Shanghai, in our industry, is quite special. International food on the light side to a Chinese audience. Now what that also means is that most of the people who work for us actually have never been in a restaurant like ours before they start working. So it's a long way from Hefei to the Shanghai center, where all of a sudden you serve a group of 6 people from 6 different countries. So it takes a lot of learning, it takes a lot of support, and it takes a lot of respect to give people the chance to make their leap. And then actually it takes giving them a lot of opportunity to keep them, so that they don't just move on to the next place. And to us, we're really proud of being able to have that level of loyalty and to have that level of internal progress, people making it to that next stage. It's not just talk. So basically my learning in terms of people, I would say, is love your people. And I really mean it. A lot has to be done fact-based, a lot of it has to be done with a culture where people actually know you care. I think it's really essential. Now, there's one tough competitor in China right now, and that's the Laojia, that's the hometown. So we don't lose too many people to other restaurants. Our problem is actually right now, the biggest challenge is families starting their business in the secondary tertiary city and basically calling their sons home, and even more frequent, mothers calling their daughters home on their 26th birthday. It's it's time to get married and we already have an idea. So that's one of our problems. Now, after starting a new company or getting involved in a small company, a lot of people have come to me and said, well, this must be fantastic not to be a slave of a big company anymore. And as I said, I couldn't really relate to it because I had a great time at Coke. And actually, sometimes, especially in the early days of being involved in Mailman Fresh, I was really missing my wings. The ability to have resources for the ideas to just happen. And I guess the reason I'm saying that I'm having the time of my life is because we've grown our wings and these are our own. So basically, my biggest learning is if you want wings, grow a pair. Thanks.